All right, so kind of just a refresher to start with. Observational studies are based on data where no manipulation has taken place. So, for example, that would be like watching behavior, looking at medical records, etc. I feel like it's really blurry.
I can see it.
Okay, that got way worse. Hold on.
Yes. Oh, okay. That's way better.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, a retrospective study is studying previous behavior. So things in the past. Prospective study is studying the future behavior. Then the experiment, because remember we have studies, then we have experiments. Experiments are controlled trials, or a controlled trial that can prove cause and effect. So researchers impose an intervention or treatment on participants. So the way to think about this, observational studies or just studies in general are passive. Okay, because they've already happened or will be happening, and we're just basically looking at the behavior after the fact or whatever. And then experiments are active because we're like presently involved in them.
Hey, your AirPods didn't go off today.
It's only.
There's still time.
She's doing calculus class. Oh, it's because you don't have them?
No, I do have.
Oh, I was going to say, that makes sense.
You're right.
As soon as he grabs them, they're going to go off.
Yeah, they'll be like, ding, ding, whatever sound it was.
Whatever.
What sound it was?
She said
I can't
ching,
remember.
All right. Researchers who examined health records of thousands of males found that men who died of myocardial infarction or heart attack
You can't just say heart attack.
tended to be shorter than men who did not.
Wait,
Infarction? I've never heard somebody call a heart attack that.
That's like the medical name for it.
Infarction?
It might be supposed to be infraction. I don't really know.
No.
Obviously, nobody knows, so it doesn't really matter. All right, is this an experiment?
No.
If not, what kind of study is it?
It's not an observational study.
no, it's infarction.
What kind?
It is a retrospective.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a retrospective observational study. To be very specific. Is it correct to conclude that shorter men are at a higher risk for heart attack?
Probably not.
I mean,
But there does seem to be a trend.
yeah. Is it
I'm
correct
sorry,
to
Nathan.
include that? I'm not sure. Is it correct to conclude that shorter men are the higher? I don't. At lurking variable, there's probably.
Bingo.
Yeah, yeah.
No, because it wasn't an experiment. We can't prove being shorter causes a heart attack. There could be a lurking variable. Because, I mean, things like weight could be a factor, what people eat, primarily what people eat, let's be honest.
Medical
Yeah.
family history.
Family history, genetics, all those things. If it was done as an experiment, it would be different, but they looked at health records. All right, components of an experiment. Random assignment. So, to randomly assign participants in an experiment to a specific intervention or treatment factors would be a variable being manipulated by the experimenter. I'm not even sure if that's a word, but we're going with it. Don't tell Miss Patton on me.
Experimental.
It's correct enough. Isn't
Are you really? I
it's
think
correct
it's,
enough.
wait.
Yeah, that's correct enough, but
I understand what
I
you're
think it
saying.
is
That's
an
all.
actual word.
As long
I
as we
think it
understand what
is
you're
a word.
saying, that's all that matters.
Don't quote me on
I'm
it.
looking it up.
A variable being manipulated by the
I wouldn't be surprised if I'm wrong though. So.
Yeah, it is.
Scientist.
Experimenter.
It is. Real word.
It's too. I spelled it
Er.
wrong. Oh, I spelled it wrong, but I understand what I'm trying to say.
One. Oh no, running
Basketball
so
game.
scary.
It actually is, Josh.
Don't say anything different.
No. No.
It's fun.
That's just a lot of exercise.
I mean, I'm
not
sure it
inclined
would be
to.
fun.
You just like run a lot on your off season, like so you
But-
just go home and like run.
Wait, what do you guys do for fun at cross country practices?
Run.
Sprints.
Well,
Some distance.
we like, sometimes we like throw around the frisbee.
Oh wait, it went like all blurry again.
Oh my
That's really-
gosh.
that's really smart.
Updated prescription.
Just get better eyes.
I wish that was easier to do.
All right, the response is a variable whose values are compared across different interventions. Experimental units are individuals on which an experiment is being performed. Levels are the specific values chosen for the factors. And treatments are a combination of possible levels and factors. All right, is diet or exercise effective in combating insomnia? Some believe that cutting out desserts can help alleviate the problem, while others recommend exercise. 40 volunteers suffering from insomnia agreed to participate in a month-long test. Half were randomly assigned to a special no dessert diet. The others continued dessert as usual. Half the people in each of these groups were randomly assigned to an exercise program, while the others did not exercise. Those who ate no desserts and engaged in exercise showed the most improvement. Gotta be a real bummer if you can't eat dessert or exercise. Sounds awful.
So there's
And
four.
exercise.
So there's like 4 groups, right? Being studied.
Yep. So is this an observational study, retrospective or prospective, or an experiment?
Experiment.
Why?
Is there
Because
doing
they
that?
gathered together
Tested.
subjects.
It's active.
It's happening right now. At the moment.
Yep. Who were the subjects studied?
Volunteers
People with insomnia.
How many?
Insomniac. 40 insomniacs.
40 volunteers with insomnia.
Oh, so they had to stay there for like
I don't think they had to stay at the
I don't think they had to stay.
place.
Oh.
I don't think it was like an institution.
Oh, I didn't know. Like, how do you trust that they didn't eat dessert?
You just have to take them at their word.
Yeah, it's kind of a trust
I mean,
they
they just
want,
ruined
you
the
want to
whole
get rid of their
experiment.
insomnia, right?
Well, there's the I mean, they
But if you don't do what they say, you're probably not going to show any improvement. Like,
What is or are the factors in the experiment and the number of levels for each?
So there's like
Factors would
exercising
be-
and like desserts.
Okay, that's the factors. So there's 2 factors. Dessert and exercise. And then 2 levels, which is dessert or no dessert. And then exercise or no exercise. So how many treatments are there? 4. 2 times 2.
Yeah, you did.
What is the response variable?
Treatment of insomnia.
How many?
Full improvement, I guess.
Improved sleeping. I wonder if they just took them for their word or if they actually like
yeah.
measured their sleep.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. They don't specify.
Lock them up for a month. Yeah.
What is the nature and scope of the conclusion the experiment can reach? What was the result?
Oh,
the people with no dessert
Those who ate no dessert and engaged in exercise showed the most improvement.
Yeah.
Slept better.
Yeah, no dessert
Slept better.
and exercise. Experienced the most improvement in their ability to sleep.
Me too.
I'm gonna apologize. I should have put space between these because these are actually questions that need to be answered.
Oh, I thought it was a multiple choice problem.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't read it yet. Also, I spelled experience.
And don't write it in the blank for exercise 5. Like, don't be like, I'm just gonna skip and write it there. You're gonna need all that space for number 5
Number 5.
on the last page. So like, don't like skip and be like, oh, I'll just write it there because there's a lot of room. There's a reason there's a lot of room.
Oh no,
Where?
that's not good.
Oh.
Oh, because it says all the things. Okay.
I see.
So all the things.
All right, is this an observational? Oh, I guess I should read the question. Among a group of disabled women age 65 or older who were tracked for several years, those who had a vitamin B12 deficiency were twice as likely to suffer severe depression as those who did not. So is this an observational study, retrospective or prospective, and then, or is it an experiment?
It's
Retrospective.
retrospective observational study. No?
No?
The prospective.
Yeah, it's prospective.
Because.
Because they were watching them as it happened.
Yeah. Okay.
It said that they tracked them for several years, but they were
Right.
watching them as it occurred because they were tracking them as they went.
Oh, and the researchers in the first one were just looking at health records. They weren't
Yeah.
actually like tracking the people.
Correct.
Okay. That makes sense.
So this is a prospective, I'm just going to write it above so I have room, observational study. Who were the subjects studied?
Disabled women.
Disabled women age 65 or older.
Yep. With a B12 deficiency.
But would we only say like because not all of them had a B12 deficiency?
We're saying that the ones with that deficiency were twice as likely to suffer from severe depression.
Yes, that's what
Right,
we're
so
looking at.
implying that not everyone had a B12 deficiency.
Right? That's what we're
Because when you're asking who are the subject studies, that's just asking for general. So.
Yeah, it probably should just say 65 or older. Because the B12 deficiency, we don't know that everyone had it. That's true. What is the parameter of interest?
Those with deficiency.
Disabled women 65 and up with
Severe
B12
depression.
deficiency or depression.
Depression level. It's basically just like how depressed were they?
Depressed Sally was so depressed.
Depressed Sally.
was she?
What are you saying?
Yeah, I didn't understand.
No, I don't get it. What is it from? What is it from? Is it a meme? What are those?
Just victorious.
Well, I didn't like watch it like every episode 30 times. So.
What is the nature and scope of the conclusion the study can reach?
Oh, result.
B12 deficiency, if you had it, like, you're more likely to suffer.
Twice as like.
You know, you could have said that way
Percent
easier
fear.
than you
Severe?
Since
Severe?
this is not an experiment,
Oh my.
There's no moral.
Sorry.
no cause and effect
Since then. I mean, that makes it easy.
can be proven. However, we may discover an association. All right, principles of experimental design. The control is basically setting rules and parameters that might affect results but aren't part of the experiment.
Mine's a question. Orient.
So obviously control can just be the baseline, or it can be like, or it can be the parameters and stuff that we don't want to like become a part of our experiment itself. Randomizing it, we do this to reduce bias, and it also helps to even out variation among treatment groups. We replicate because larger sources of data are better to study. And results from one individual are anecdotal and not valid. Blocking is grouping based on similarities. Remember, however, that this is not required. Back to insomnia. Recall the experiment investigating the effectiveness of exercise in combating insomnia. The experiment involved other groups of subjects who didn't exercise. researchers assigned 40 volunteers to an exercise program. Why didn't the experiments have everyone exercise and see if their ability to sleep improved?
To have a group to compare it to.
Yep, it gives us a group to compare to. Why was it important to randomize in deciding who would exercise?
To reduce bias.
Yep. To even out variation or bias in treatment groups. Because we also don't know if these people already were like people who exercised all the time or not. And so, like, that's why. What would be the advantages and disadvantages to using 100 subjects instead of 40? So, what are the pros?
The results would be more accurate or more precise.
Or use
Why?
data.
Replication.
Okay, so larger sample size obviously is always good from the standpoint of replication. And then also we have less variation. Because if we had 100 subjects instead of 40 and we had 4 groups, how many would be in each group? 25, whereas in the other one we only had 10. So it's more than double. So that would mean our results should be more accurate. What are some cons or disadvantages?
Bias? I don't know.
I don't know.
Probably
maybe
not.
It's hard to keep track of all of them.
Yeah, it would take longer because there's more people to track. The cost would go up.
We're talking about
Also, could give more lurking variables.
Yeah.
Because we don't know, like we were saying, we don't know what these people ate on a normal basis. Aside from that, we don't know if they were already exercising, if they have a desk job, they have, you know, a job where they're moving around all the time, and we don't know a lot of those things. So that's going to play a part as well. So we have more lurking variables. The more people we have, more than likely. Suppose some of the 40 subjects had maintained a healthy weight, but others were quite overweight. Why might researchers choose to block the subjects by weight level before randomly assigning some of each group to the exercise program?
To
Put them
To
into
reduce-
blocks, like, because they have similar qualities.
I mean, it makes it like a fair observation.
Yeah, because we don't know if that's going to make a difference.
Right.
Yeah.
Because weight could change or could make a difference and we might not know.
Like, we don't know if it's a lurking
Yeah.
variable.
Right. So blocking is good. If we feel overweight versus non-overweight. People might react differently to treatment. So basically we just grouped them by where they're at so that we take out another level of like lurking variables. No?
Oh. I forgot about this last page.
All right, statistically significant is a result that stands out but is unlikely to be a result of natural variation The control group is the baseline treatment level. In blinding, we have a decent amount to write under this one, so don't write super big. Individuals associated with the experiment who are not aware of how treatments are assigned So there's two different kinds of blinding. We have single blind, which is that the participant doesn't know. Basically, like which treatment they're getting. Double blind is where the participant and the researcher doesn't know. Alright, so for this next problem, we're going to basically need every little bit of space that's in here because we're going to be drawing a little diagram and stuff. So don't go crazy. This might be the first time we've gone through all the examples in one day.
I know.
How much time do we have?
15 minutes.
15 minutes.
Your watch didn't go off. Or did it?
It did.
No.
This hasn't though.
I just tuned it out. Alright, reading. Some schools teach reading using phonics. There's a typo in here on mine. I changed y'all's, but using phonics, the sounds made by letters. In other languages, use whole language, which is word recognition. Suppose a school district wants to know which method works better. Suggest an appropriate experiment. Diagram the experiment and be sure to identify the factors, levels, treatments, response variables, and the role of randomization. All right. So, first and foremost, we have the reading teachers' classrooms. Okay, so they want to know which method works better. Okay, so we have two options. We have phonics and we have word recognition. So I'm going to have a little diagram here pointing toward each one. And they should be randomly assigned to one of these groups. Then from these groups, we're hoping to see the results on the reading test. We're going to compare the results in the reading test. know, I was just like assume people know how to read, and then I'm like, since I've been doing like the children's musical, we have like a teleprompter for them for like the musical, but we have a lot of kids who are like first grade and younger, and they can't read.
Oh no.
So
What do you?
some of them have kind of like had this realization, like, I can't read and I don't know all my lines yet, and so they're like, they started like freaking out when we were on stage like 2 weeks ago, and we were like, it's okay, all you need to do is look at us and we will mouth you the next words, like, you're okay.
Oh. When does the play? Like when does the little? Music?
December 17th.
Oh.
So they have time. They're just like starting to freak out now because they're realizing we're doing things that don't have the lyrics on them, and like that they don't have the track isn't gonna just say the words for them like it does when they're at home. And
Oh.
yeah, anyways, but yeah, it's weird because they don't know how to read, and I'm like, oh, you don't know how to read.
Like just read the script.
And like we haven't done the teleprompter yet, so like they don't, but even still we're like, we'll hand them their books and they're like, I can't read this. We're like, oh, okay,
Oh right.
great. It's been an adventure.
Okay.
I love that.
All right, so when we're going to test this, we need some kind of a control group. So any recommendations on what we might use as a control group or how we might do that?
Schools
Maybe like
not
pick
teaching
one of those.
Like you just pick one.
Huh?
Do you just pick one?
Pick one and call it control.
Or is it like
Well, we want to see which method is better, so we can't just call
Mix
one of
up
them a
both.
control.
kids who can't read? Wait no.
or a different system entirely.
Okay, so possibly a completely different method. I don't really know what other method there is other than those two, but a completely different method would be an option.
Hieroglyphics?
You know what I mean?
Like pictures, I don't know. Read off pictures.
Charades.
We do. We do like phonics here.
Another option would be a pre-test on reading. So basically, like, sit them all in a room and have them attempt to read. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, this is kind of tricky. I would-
But perhaps maybe like here when we do the standardized testing, maybe use their standardized testing from first grade and then test these methods in second grade. I don't know. Things like that would be an option.
Yeah, when did we start learning to read?
I think
You
it's
start learning to read
before,
really
right?
in kindergarten.
Yeah.
You get those cat, hat,
With the
dog, sat, pat, whatever books. You know what I'm talking about? Those
Yes,
little
yeah.
readers that were like
Yes.
paper, and you had to take them home and
Yeah,
read them
well, I
every
remember,
day.
like, the picture of the, I remember there was a picture of a dog on it on one of them.
But anyways, take some kind of pre-test, be it from a previous year or something else, and compare it that way.
Wait a minute. I was just thinking, there was one point where we didn't know how to read,
If there was a
Like-
There was.
would there still be a voice in our head?
Some people don't actually have a voice in their head.
I have a lot of
Really?
voices. Wait, no,
It's
not like that.
It's
Wait.
like 40% of the population that don't actually.
You don't have like. an
Like some
inner
people also
monologue?
can't like visualize things in their head.
Mine speaks in
Yeah.
a British
Really? You
accent.
can't. Well, everyone.
Like if I say
I
like
can't.
mountain, can you see a mountain in your head?
Yeah.
That's why reading books.
So some
is
people
fun.
can't.
Really.
It's like when I read a book, it's like a whole movie in my
Well,
head.
everyone can talk to themselves.
But then I
though.
realized-
No,
just
everybody
really-
can't talk to
No,
themselves.
because that's your. Not everyone has an inner monologue.
Really?
Yeah.
But you can't like think to yourself though, and like think words out.
No.
Read.
No.
It's just blank in there, I guess. It's soundless.
Really? It's just
That's unfortunate.
That is unfortunate because I be talking about. No.
That's
I mean,
why
like,
when
When
you-
I found that out, because I was talking to someone, I don't even remember who it was. It was probably somebody at college or something. That like I was like, yeah, I was like, you just like visualize it, and they were like, I can't.
I can't process.
They were
that
like, I
they
don't
can't
see
do
things
that.
in my head. I was like, how do you not see things in your head? Like I say mountain, and I see a mountain in my head. Like I'm
can't
literally
process it,
picturing a
like, you
mountain
can't
in
do
my
that.
head, and they're like, yeah, I don't have that.
Yeah, so like the next time you think to yourself, dang, they must not have anything going on up there. in
They
their
could really not have
They
could
really
not
might not.
have anything going on up
I
there.
can't
Bunch of
process
empty
the
things.
fact. I just. I don't know.
I have like full conversations with myself
Me too.
sometimes.
Me
Like
I like play out scenarios in my head.
Yeah, me too. But sometimes my brain will skip to a certain part, and I'm like, no, I didn't
I'm
want
like,
that
we
to
haven't
happen.
got to that part yet. We need
No,
the
no, it's like
backstory.
rewind. I
I
need
like-
to go
yeah.
back.
I need the
Yeah.
backstory first.
Like I can like
I could be
induce
awesome right
myself
now.
into a dream when I'm going to sleep. I can like
Me
think
too.
about what I want to dream about, and then
Yes.
I will just.
Okay, I can't.
You
do
people do
that.
that? I do that all
Sometimes
the
I can do
time.
it,
I'm
but
like,
it
I'm
doesn't always work.
feeling.
That's literally so not fair.
No,
What?
but then like something.
I'd have these
makes me
scenarios
go,
of like what I would want to happen in my life, and I would just start dreaming about them.
I had a dream about serial killers last night.
It's very
No,
satisfying.
no.
How do you
Like,
all
but
remember it?
sometimes-
Well, some people can't even remember the
Well, I had a dream that somebody came in our house and was literally like busted everything, but didn't come in the room and get me. So I'm not really sure.
Sometimes I'll have the thing that I wanted to dream about, but it'll be mixed in with other things I didn't think I was thinking about, and I'm like, that's not how I wanted that. to
No,
play out.
now, I wish I could do that.
It's so
Somebody
fun.
thinks I want to dream about.
Just
Just
think
like-
about it really hard.
Just like
It's like daydreaming, but like
Before I went to sleep,
actually
I was like,
physically
I'm gonna
dreaming
wake
about
up
it.
At 5. I'm
I
gonna
can't
wake up
do
at
that.
5, and then I'll like wake up at that time.
I
Sometimes
definitely-
that
I
happens.
Definitely can't do that.
I definitely can't do that.
I've
But
done that
I
before.
can't do it. dude.
It could
I
just be a
can't.
coincidence, but I've done it like 4 or
I don't
5
even
times.
remember my dreams. I
I
don't
think
know.
it's funny that this is all.
I just remember there were serial killers like in my dream. I just don't really remember what it was about.
interesting.
The only thing I can like remember is like I'll be having like a really good dream, and then like my dad will just turn on the lights.
Oh, that's so
Yes.
real, and I'm
It's,
like,
in the middle
no.
of a dream.
Or like you
And
shut
it's
off
also
the
like
dream
an
and
hour
you're
in a
like
dream is
sleeping.
only like 30 seconds in real life.
Word.
You ever watched Inception? They
Yes,
explain that.
Great movie. I love it.
I haven't seen
I've
that.
never seen it.
It's a great movie.
Wait, is that
Haven't watched it in a
Leonardo
hot minute, but it's a great
DiCaprio?
movie. Yeah.
Yes, he's in there. And
Okay.
then they spin the,
I didn't wanna
they
be
spin
wrong.
the tops things
Yeah.
like see if they're in a dream or not.
Okay.
So
now
if
I
the
wanna
top
watch
is
that.
spinning,
Always go look in a mirror if you aren't sure if you're in a dream. or not.
Oh, great movie. I haven't seen it in a while. I want to watch it.
I kind of want to see that.
all right, let's finish this really fast, and then we can finish our dream
Oh,
discussion.
yes,
Right.
yes.
All right, randomly split the teachers and the students in half.
Sorry.
Like,
I knew that was gonna get some laughs.
Sorry.
Split them into 2 groups.
Wait, this experiment just took a turn.
One group does phonics, and the other does word recognition.
Is there one thing that's like memorize what the word, like memorize how it sounds instead of like
Like
dissecting
seeing
each
things that are
word?
around it and deciding what it should be.
I hated phonics, but like it was useful.
But you know, then you have language that's like through and tough and rough and
Yeah, and so it
Like
was kinda
phonics
like,
doesn't always work.
it's like here are the rules, but every
Nothing
word
follows the
does
rules.
not follow the rules.
then from there we allow the teachers to teach their method. And compare results. So now we would obviously need to have some kind of post-test really or something like that to compare the results
They can read.
to, you know.
Oh, this is how long is that? Holy
There's one factor, which is the reading program. Within that, there are 2 levels, which are phonics or word recognition. So that means there are 2 treatments. Because 1 times 2 is 2. Basic math, I like it. And what's our response variable?
Reading level.
literate kids, illiterate.
So growth in reading. And I think we pretty much took care of everything that it wanted. Looks like it.